What up, it's your boy Nick Incredible, and this is my discussion slash review for Roadhouse 2024. Comedy? Action movie? Maybe a little bit of both. Let's talk about it.
Headed out for change, I just started on my quest. Yeah, the world will know my name, I'm excited, I'm obsessed. No one in my way but myself and a test. Yeah, I will be the best, yeah, I will be the best. Life is just a game, I'll be playing till I rest. I'll be there to claim my own spot among the best.
Right off rip, a lot of people might not have loved it, but if I'm being honest, it was a decent watch. Now, you kind of got to expect it for what it is. Don't expect it to hit like the original because it's doing its own thing, and I give it credit in that. Now, they changed a lot of stuff, and you can tell that they switched some things around, but I will say, compared to the original, it's a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Like the original kind of took itself a little bit more serious with a sprinkle or two of some jokes and stuff. It felt like a serious movie. Now, this had moments to where it was serious, and then there were some jokes going on, like they'd have a fight and it'd be a little comical. Now, I'm not mad at that because there's nothing wrong with throwing jokes when you know you got the upper hand in a fight or whatnot. But in my opinion, Jake Gyllenhaal carried the movie. Now, I loved him in Southpaw, and I feel like this was kind of like another one of those movies to where he had got ripped and jacked, and we all saw the teaser all around the internet with him flexing in the UFC ring. So we knew what it was going to be. Now, I love that throughout the movie, we see that he's dealing with something that happened with him in his past involving the UFC, and I love that they actually filmed in the UFC ring, and throughout the movie, we see him kind of having problems and having flashbacks about that particular moment in the UFC ring while he was actually fighting. I love that. Now, he carried the movie in my opinion. Sure, it felt like Jake really dialed in for his character, but he also kind of kept it cool with it. You know what I'm saying? He had a little swagger about his character, and he threw some jokes in there. The action was on point. You can see him kind of stepping up into that mentor role, if you will, as he progressed and the story progressed when he was at the Roadhouse. Now, I like the fact that he carried the movie because, not to take away from anybody else, I'm pretty sure everybody really done their own thing, but you see that it feels like everybody else kind of gave like 30 or 45%. And Jake's character was the whole sole focus. It was based on his character, Elwood Dalton, which was also Patrick Swayze's character in the original. But Jake kind of brought his own spin to it. He was a former UFC fighter. We see a bunch of UFC flashbacks where they actually were in the UFC ring, like the stadium, the lights and everything was going on. So I thought that was a nice direction they was going in with the director and everything. I feel like that was cool because we all saw it across the internet where like the TikToks or whatever, where he was kind of flexing in the UFC stuff. So that was cool to actually have that put in the movie and be able to watch that unfold as the movie progressed. But we know the story focused on Jake's character, but I also feel like that was the center of attention for everything. I mean, I feel like everybody else was kind of like a second thought. That doesn't make it a bad thing because I enjoyed Jake's character, and I feel like it was a good action movie if you take it for what it was. Don't think too much about it because although the story tried to give you a bunch of different stuff going into it, like the plot of it. In the beginning, we have this down and out guy. He may need to be a little pick me up because he was feeling a little down. Okay, then halfway through the movie, we see that he decides to take the job and become a bouncer, and he steps into like this mentor role and watching out for some of the people in the bar. But I did love that because Patrick Swayze kind of done the exact same thing. Now, as to where Patrick Swayze kind of dove a little bit more into the whole dynamics of the actual Roadhouse, Jake didn't really do that. And I'm not mad at that because, like I said, it felt very action heavy and solely focused on Jake's character. And that's not a bad thing, but everybody else felt a little campy in my opinion. Now, the bouncers, they were doing their thing, and everybody else around the Roadhouse, like Billy Magnuson's character, it was nice to kind of see him in a serious role, but you kind of just see him in a bunch of other stuff that he done, and it really wasn't working for me. But I enjoyed him having that serious demeanor and being that gangster type guy. Now, Conor McGregor. Now, I don't know how anybody else felt watching this movie. Sure, okay, first of all, he's not an actor we knew this going in. So Conor McGregor played Conor McGregor with maybe just amped up just a little bit more, but we all know that he's already on 10 in real life, so he probably paid it at like maybe 10 and a half to 11. But I did enjoy certain moments of his character a little bit. Like when you get a character that's meant to be a character solely, I'm fine with that because I'm not expecting too much out of them. So his acting we knew wasn't gonna be up to par, but he just got to play himself. So that within itself is his acting, and it worked in his favor. Now, the fight sequences, I enjoyed some of the fight sequences, but I didn't enjoy the one-on-one fights with Jake Gyllenhaal's character when whoever he was fighting. Like some of the editing and the shots that they were doing, some were good and some kind of threw me for a loop a little bit because we'd have moments to where they're having a full-blown fight. We'd see it from the outside, we'd watch it, they'd zoom in, flip the camera angle a little bit, and then we'd kind of get like a first-person type shooter vision where we see the punches flying like this and it's all up close and face and personal. Wasn't bad, but it just kind of made the fight seem a little silly and it made it campy in my opinion. Now the plot of the movie I feel like was a little all over the place in my opinion because we have a bunch of different things taking place, but I understand because you're in this very small town. We see a bunch of people constantly, oh hey Dalton, and he was like, did I miss a town meeting or something? Why does everybody know my name? So it was nice to see him kind of connect with a lot of people in the town, you know, although we knew how the story was going to go. He wasn't going to stay there forever, you know what I'm saying? It's a small town and he's one of those characters, oh, well, he's needed somewhere else, you know, but the fact that he did make a couple of connections throughout the town and it was very needed for his character because we see in the very beginning he's actually going through something, he's dealing with something very traumatic from his past, and although he took this job on a whim, it kind of helped him in the long run, even though he had to do a bunch of other stuff going through. Now, I loved a lot of the action sequences, but like I said, the 1v1 fights kind of threw me for a loop. Like, I loved the whole outside part of it, but like once we started zooming in and getting that 1v1 type fighting style where we're going like this and all we saw is the fist and everything else was a little bit blurry, that kind of took me out of the fight because it didn't really feel real at that time. And there was a lot of jokes throughout the actual fighting moments. Like I said, I'm not mad at it, but I feel like this definitely should have been like action slash comedy, maybe, I don't know, because there was a lot of jokes and there was a lot of funny moments with a lot of the characters, but I feel like that kind of took down a lot of the tension that was actually built up. Now, even the original had its serious moments, but it had some funny moments in there too, you know, I get that. The music, I really loved the music throughout the entire movie. Having different bands kind of play every night at the Roadhouse, that was kind of cool. But I enjoyed it. Like, if you take it for what it is, it's a decent movie. Don't try to compare it to the original and don't try to, you know, elevate it to where it's up here, where it should have been. No, like I said, I enjoyed some of the fights and I enjoyed some of the comedy. So if you take it for what it is, you'll get a wonderful time and you'll enjoy this movie as well. I didn't want to spoil anything because I feel like you should watch it yourself and then kind of evaluate it yourself. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people watch something because someone told them and they kind of go in with a little bit of bias. So watch it, tell me what you think, come back, comment down below. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on this movie, what you felt about it. Like I said, Conor McGregor, if you take him for what he is, not solely on the acting particulars of it, he just played Conor McGregor, maybe amped up to 11. You know, normally he's on 10. You know, he amped up to 11 to play in this movie. There's one scene in there just particular I really did enjoy. Dodger. This is what incredible. Don't forget to smash the like button until you can't smash anymore. Comment down below and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them and subscribe. Peace out.
Cause I've been working a lot, I think I deserve a shot, I think I deserve a spot. Cause it's been years on this path that I walked, and if I keep going I pray I'll be at the top.